SCP-2331. SCP-2331 is a scarecrow with a glowing pumpkin head whose sole purpose in life is to boogie. But before he became the boogeyman in the fun sense, he was the boogeyman in the literal one, mostly for crows. Back in the day, he was the spirit of autumn itself, and his job was simple: scare birds, bring the harvest, and look seasonal. But being the diva he is, he eventually got bored of standing around and getting shat on by crows. So naturally, he did what any self-respecting spirit of autumn would do. He threw a rave. So instead of the boogeyman, he became a boogeyman, now known as Scarecrow. SCP-2331 hosts spontaneous underground raves across North America, from abandoned barns to college gyms, complete with fire hazards, pulp fiction, and enough bass to wake the dead. Reports indicate that partygoers under his influence experience mild euphoria, loss of inhibition, and an uncontrollable urge to dance. Foundation researchers suspect mild mimetic mind control, though the vibe's so immaculate they can't prove it. Containment has proven complicated. Every time agents try to shut down one of his sets, they end up on the dance floor, waving glow sticks and shouting, "One more song!" One operative even made contact with Scarecrow, only for him to hand over a business card with someone else's number on it. So now the Foundation officially classifies SCP-2331 as non-hostile but extremely distracting. And their strategy is simple: show up, dance along, and clean up afterward. Because as it turns out, you can't stop the rave. You can only pump up the jam. SCP-330. Every horror story needs a moral. And this one's simple. Greed gets you amputated. Picture this. It's Halloween night, you're out trick-or-treating, and you stumble across a bowl of candy sitting on a porch. There's a note taped to it that reads, "Please take 2. Now, if your first thought is, "Cute, let's take the whole bowl," I hate to inform you, you just donated both your hands to science. Because the moment you grab that third piece, it's swish, slash, swoon. And now, your hands are gone. So yeah, you thought it was harmless, and now you're armless. See, SCP-330 is literally just a stainless steel bowl filled with assorted candies. Beside it sits that same handwritten note. Take no more than 2, please. And here's the catch. It can't be removed, covered, or ignored. Everyone who gets close to it automatically reads it, whether they want to or not. And if you think you can outsmart it, say, by using robot arms or your buddy's hand, you're still getting disarmed. Like, literally. The effect doesn't care how you grab it, only how many. On the bright side, the rule resets every 24 hours. So if your sweet tooth's stronger than your survival instinct, just wait a day. And luckily, containment, thankfully, is simple. The Foundation keeps it locked up in storage with a label that basically says, hazardous food item. Keep your hands to yourself. Let's just say, after a few too many failed experiments, the Foundation's running short on high fives. SCP-2287. If you've ever heard the phrase, "No, I'm not giving you head," you'll probably relate to this SCP. Another product of Dr. Wondertainment, as proudly stamped on his lower back, SCP-2287 is a headless man known as Mr. Headless. He was originally designed as a Halloween special, a spooky porch prop that was supposed to sit still all night, then jump up and scare trick-or-treaters. But as usual, the good doctor got a little ahead of himself. And instead of a simple decoration, he created a decapitation with personality. Despite desperately needing a head, Mr. Headless functions perfectly fine. He can talk, hear, smell, and even crack a joke. He just can't see, eat, or, think straight. Oh, and he claims to survive through amplified photosynthesis, which I can only assume means his brain's running on vitamin D. And no, not that one. Direct observation of his headlessness is impossible. Anyone who looks at him perceives a headless version of themselves, as if seen from his perspective. Although I'm not sure how he can have a perspective if he claims to be legally blind. So I guess the logic flew over his head. Still, he's polite, harmless, and surprisingly zen about the whole missing head thing. These days, he chills in containment, reading braille books and burning incense. And if he ever decides to escape, the Foundation should probably just give him a head start. So keep your head up, buddy. You might have lost it, but at least you're still ahead in spirit. SCP-3540. This wholesome anomaly is proof that even the dead need a little rest sometimes. Once a year, somewhere in suburban America, a random abandoned house gets a full Halloween makeover, complete with cobwebs, carved pumpkins, flickering lights, and 2 very unusual tenants. Meet Morris and Lance, a happily married pair of Grim Reapers, who just happen to be, dead. So yeah, when someone said, "Remember son, dying is gay," this is probably what they meant. Every October, the couple takes the month off to redecorate, unwind, and haunt responsibly. By day, they vanish without a trace, leaving only dead silence. But once the sun sets, they reappear, sitting on the porch, sipping tea, and quietly judging your costume choices. Inside, they're the perfect picture of domestic afterlife, cooking, cleaning, and occasionally arguing over whose turn it is to raise the spirits. When agents first made contact, Maurice and Lance welcomed them in for tea, and even served their signature chicken parmesan, that's quite literally, to die for. After that, the Foundation realized containment wasn't so much about control as it was about courtesy. Their job now is simple: track the house, make sure the neighbors don't notice, and wipe memories when November rolls around. Because once the month ends, the two pack up their bones, close the curtains, and head back to work. Just another day on the grind, a stone. Or should I say, the gravestone. SCP-2523. If you thought the prices at Spirit Halloween were scary, wait until you see the store where buying something will cost you an arm or leg. And yes, I mean that literally. Every Halloween, a handful of seasonal Halloween stores across the US and Canada turn into a shared reality-bending shopping mall, all connected at once. When the clock strikes sunset on October 31st, the human staff vanish, and in come their replacements. 1-meter-tall goblins with twiggy limbs, terrible posture, and the enthusiasm of minimum-wage employees who actually like their job. They'll greet you politely, offer you candy, and convince you to buy that fake vampire cape. Not with cash, but with something a little more personal. Your hair, your memories, a few years of your life. Hell, they'll even take your kid if the deal's good enough. But unfortunately for you, everything in the store has a hidden clause, and the return policy is brutal. You trade your empathy for a decorative mirror? Cool. Now the only things you can see in it are your dead relatives. Buy fake fangs, and you'll suddenly crave blood. The trades can cause anything from chronic pain to lifelong bad luck. So my luck in relationships? Still the same. Obviously, containment is a nightmare. The Foundation tracks the stores, intercepts customers, and wipes memories afterward. Anyone who trades non-monetary goods gets quarantined for 366 days. Afterwards, their memory resets, and they'll go right back to life, blissfully unaware that they just traded their kid for 20% off seasonal decor. SCP-3992. What if Halloween wasn't just for kids, but for the monsters hiding under their beds? That very thought had Dr. Wondertainment in a chokehold, so naturally he did the most obvious thing: create a set of Halloween masks for creatures who just want to fit in for one night. The Foundation recovered these masks alongside a handwritten note from Dr. Wondertainment himself, which basically said, "I don't want the ugly kids to be left out this Halloween." Heartwarming in a deeply unethical kind of way. Each mask looks ordinary enough. Cheap plastic, stretchy string, the kind of thing you'd find in a discount bin in that goblin Halloween store. If a human wears it, nothing happens. But here's the trick, or treat, depending on your species. If an anomaly wears it, they're in for a full makeover. The moment they put it on, they instantly appear as a human child wearing a matching costume. Put on a vampire mask, and boom, you've got yourself a tiny Dracula. Slip on a chicken mask, suddenly you're dressed exactly like one of my subscribers. The transformation's purely visual, though. To everyone else, the anomalies just look perfectly human. So now, even SCP-096 can finally enjoy a happy Halloween without feeling the need to scream in someone's face and rip their head off. Isn't that wholesome? Unfortunately, the Party Pooper Foundation keeps the masks safely locked away at Site-17. Personally, I say let the monsters have their candy. They've earned it. Because sometimes, Halloween isn't about hiding what's scary. It's about giving even the scariest things a chance to feel human again. SCP-2006. If there were ever an SCP built for Halloween, it's this one. A shape-shifting entity whose entire purpose is to scare people. The problem? It has zero idea what actually scares humans. It tries really, really hard, but the best it can do is turn into low-budget horror villains from movies that got 8% on Rotten Tomatoes. Its favorite form is Ro-Man, the gorilla suit with a fishbowl helmet from the 1953 disaster robot monster. So yes, the deadliest thing about SCP-2006 might just be secondhand embarrassment. In its true form, SCP-2006 is just a floating, morphing sphere, capable of changing shape, mass, and voice at will. So in theory, it could become anything it wants. In practice, it mostly walks around yelling things like, "Behold, human, tremble," while dressed like a Halloween prop from that goblin store. Technically, though, it's indestructible with no known weaknesses, which is why the SCP Foundation takes no chances. Containment is basically method acting. Every staff member near it has to pretend to be terrified. It's shown bad horror movies on a monthly basis to keep its scare standards low, and no one is allowed to let it know how ridiculous it is. Because if SCP-2006 ever discovers what actually frightens humans, like war, isolation, or running out of Wi-Fi, we're all doomed. SCP-097. If you're a kid who loves pumpkin pie, carnivals, and permanent disappearance, then this old fairground is for you. Its only cost? Your life. Hidden somewhere in the American Midwest, SCP-097 is a 10-acre patch of cursed farmland that once hosted a county fair back in 1969, until the pumpkins took over. The place is now crawling with deformed gourds the size of small cars, twisting together into a maze of vines and rot. And at the center of it all sits the main attraction, SCP-097-1, a 24-foot-tall, 15-ton monstrosity affectionately nicknamed Gourdzilla. If your first thought was, ooh, pumpkin spice frappuccino? Say less! Yeah, try saying that again when you're the one getting turned into spice. Because this pumpkin doesn't serve frappes, it serves children. You see, every year, between April and November, the area wakes up. Strange carnival music plays, lights flicker, and nearby children begin to sleepwalk. By late summer, they start heading straight toward the patch, sometimes from miles away. When they arrive, they sit before Gourdzilla and start singing nonsense. Then ghostly kids crawl out of the pumpkins to join hands. The real child wakes up just in time to realize they're the main event, and the ritual ends with the victim getting fed to the big pumpkin, and the choir vanishes back into the vines. So now, containment involves a concrete wall and a strict no kids allowed policy. Any children found wandering are immediately vaporized by the Foundation. Kidding, they're just escorted to the nearest police station before someone else decides to harvest them. And that wraps up our Halloween SCP lineup. Before you head out, sorry, Mr. Headless, make sure to like, subscribe, and check out the next video.